Namaste. This is David Hawthorne at astroview.com. Today's the 21st of August 2018. The following is the Vedic astrology reading for Aretha Franklin, based on the 25th of March 1942 at 10:30 p.m. in Memphis, Tennessee. Now, this gives the Libra rising sign. In the first house, we have the seventh sign of the zodiac ascending or rising at 22 degrees, 43 minutes of Libra. This is known as Tula Lagna, Libra rising sign. This is an air sign ruled by Shukra, by Venus. So air sign persons, and especially Libra, are quite brilliant. They have magnetic personality. Venus ruling the chart is in the fourth house of happiness and parents and home life. And Venus rules the fine arts, the performing arts, and the healing arts. Venus is within 5 degrees of the ascendant degree, so with 7th aspect into the 10th house is very good for professional life. And it connects the career with the fine arts, the performing arts, and the healing arts. Second house, 8th sign Scorpio. Third house, 9th sign Sagittarius. Fourth house, 10th sign Capricorn. So Venus in Capricorn also makes her very earthy and very practical, self-made, and ambitious. This is the house of parents, and both of her parents were involved in music. Fifth house, 11th sign Aquarius. Mercury and Ketu in Aquarius. Mercury rules the 12th house, and it's in the 5th house, so it can give some connection with international ventures. Mercury rules speech. Its conjunction with Ketu brings about spiritual or religious speech. She sang in the church choir. And Rahu also aspects Mercury, which gives persuasive speech. Rahu is also connected with ambition and fame and fortune. So I think this contributes to the music, the choir. Sixth house, 12th sign Pisces. Sun is Atma Karaka, significator for the soul. Pisces is a water sign, the 12th and final sign of the zodiac, relating to the 12th house of Moksha Sthan, spirituality. She was considered the queen of soul. Sun is a royal planet. So this brings a lot of soul into music. 7th house, first sign Aries, ruled by Mars. Mars, ruling the house of marriage, is in the 8th house, which is a Dustan Bhava, inauspicious house. And Jupiter, ruling husband, is also in the 8th house, an inauspicious house. So she had 4 male children by the time she was 18 years old. None of the relationships with the fathers lasted. 2 ended up in marriage and divorces. 4 different fathers for her 4 children. 8th house, transformations and vulnerability. 8th house is called Randra. It can also be setbacks and disappointments, and even death-like experiences. Ninth house, third sign, Gemini. So this is Moon in Gemini. Gemini is an air sign, and it represents duality. Gemini is the twins. So some duality relative to the emotional life. This moon is under the 5th aspect of Ketu. Ketu throws an aspect 5, 7, and 9 houses away. Anytime Rahu and Ketu are close to the rising sign degree, the person can have some tremendous highs and lows in life. Desires, non-desire, I want, I don't want, material life versus spiritual life. Rahu and Ketu are mathematical ecliptic points in the zodiac. They do cause the eclipse of the sun and the moon every year since the beginning of time. So if they can bring darkness to the royal luminary sun and moon, they can bring trouble into our lives. So Ketu is within 5 degrees of the moon, and it's within 5 degrees of the ascendant degree. So it causes two sets of issues with the moon. It directly afflicts the moon, and it afflicts the house where moon is sitting. Moon is mother. So her mother passed away by the time Aretha was 10 years old. So loss of mother. Tenth house, 4th sign, Cancer. So Moon rules the house of professional life. This generally gives public favor. This is a waxing moon, is pulling away from the sun. It's 1, 2, 3, 4 houses from the sun. This connects career with working with the public, hotels, restaurants, import, export, teaching, entertainment, social work, psychology. Moon ruling career is in the 9th house of divine grace, good luck, and good fortune, in an air sign ruled by Mercury. But also highs and lows with career. Material life versus spiritual life. 11th house, 5th sign, Leo, ruled by the sun. Generally, when sun rules the house of income and friendships, the person can have good income and friendships. But these are not without disputes when sun goes into the 6th house. So there can be some tension and disputes relative to money and with friends. And the 12th house is 6th sign, Virgo, ruled by Mercury. So Mercury rules the house of foreign lands and long distance journeys. But the Rahu Ketu affliction to Mercury gave her fear of flying, of travel, of visiting international places. So she did not travel abroad after a certain year. I think it was sometime in the 80s. She stopped traveling abroad out of fear of flying. Whenever the 12th house ruler, in this case Mercury, is afflicted by Rahu and Ketu, the person has trouble with intimacy and pleasures of the bed. And there can be losses of spouse, losses and expenses connected with the spouse. Now we see that Aretha Franklin passed away in the Sun main period, which runs from November 2015 to November 2021. So she died during the Sun main period and the Jupiter subperiod. Sun is in the house of health issues and is connected with the stomach. And she died from pancreatic cancer. The subperiod was Jupiter, which is in the 8th house of death-like experiences. Jupiter rules the liver and gallbladder and hips. Now there is a principle. If there's a functional benefic planet in the 8th house, close to the rising sign degree, then its 7th aspect blesses the 2nd house of wealth, status, and speech. Jupiter rules his 3rd house of self-initiatives, communications, and entrepreneurial ventures. And it blesses the 2nd house. So this gives her some status and wealth through her own self-efforts, her own self-initiatives. Even Mars is within the 5-degree orb of the ascendant degree, so its 7th aspect also gives status through partnerships and joint ventures. Rahu in the house of income and friendships can give her enormous income and friendships with famous and wealthy people. K2 in the 5th house gives spiritual mind. She always was part of the church. So these are the main points on the chart for Aretha Franklin. She was a wonderful woman who gave us wonderful entertainment. Good person, good soul. Sun in Pisces. It's a Brahmin sign. Water sign ruled by Guru, by Jupiter. Great soul. Earthy, practical, self-made person. Ambitious. Influence of Venus on that 10th house was very good for the fine arts, performing arts, and healing arts. The moon, very creative planet, ruling the house of career. And career is ruled by the moon, and Cancer is a movable sign. Her 4 kindreds of life are movable. 1st house of self, 4th house of home life, 7th house of marriage, 10th house of professional life. These are movable signs. So she was not afraid to go places and do things. Moon ruling the public is in the house of good fortune and divine grace. The K2 influence of Moon gave her a spiritual heart. But still some setbacks with husband, children, marriage, relationships, partnerships. Sometimes when Saturn is associated with the house of children, the person has stepchildren, and she did acquire stepchildren through a marriage. Early loss of mother is seen with K2 on the moon and afflicting the house that moon occupies. Mercury for Libra is not a favorable planet. It rules the 12th house. So it causes some stress with investments and education and children and even income and friendships. There was some stress like with Whitney Houston, which was very close to her. She was basically considered an aunt to Whitney Houston. So great soul was in our lives and great music. So we wish her all the best in the afterlife.